cameras weren't even supposed to be rolling that night. But what happened between Mendeecees and Tamar has now become the most shocking twist reality TV fans have seen in years. It started as whispers, just a few cryptic posts, a strange disappearance from Yandy's Instagram, and a photo that shouldn't have existed. But by the time the footage leaked, the internet was already on fire. Viewers couldn't believe their eyes. Tamar Braxton, radiant and white, standing beside Mendeecees in what appeared to be a private, candlelit ceremony somewhere in Atlanta. The look on their faces said everything. This wasn't a music video shoot. This was a wedding, a secret one. And the moment it hit social media, everything Yandy Smith had built with Mendeecees came crashing down overnight. Fans were stunned. People who had followed Yandy and Mendeecees since the early love and hip-hop days were calling it the ultimate betrayal. Some thought it was a publicity stunt. Others said it was the reason Yandy had gone silent for weeks. But insiders claim this wasn't some made-for-TV scandal. It was real, and it was explosive. Reports say Yandy found out through the same viral clip everyone else did, her husband in a tuxedo, his hand on Tamar's waist, exchanging vows before a handful of close friends. One insider even claimed Yandy didn't just walk out. She packed her bags that same night and told Mendeecees he'd never see her again. As the leaked video spread, so did the confusion. Tamar had just been spotted days before, talking about new beginnings in an interview, but no one guessed she meant this. Was it love? Was it revenge? Or was it just another twisted chapter in the world of fame and betrayal? The timeline didn't make sense. Mendeecees had been seen with Yandy at a family event barely a week earlier, yet here he was, standing beside another woman, smiling like a man who had moved on long ago. The internet lost it. Yandy deserves better started trending, while Tamar's name shot up to the #1 spot on Twitter within hours. Even celebrities jumped in, some defending Tamar, others calling the move cold-blooded. Meanwhile, the footage kept circulating, and fans began dissecting every second of it. The setting, the ring, the whispered "I love you" caught on mic before the clip cut off. It was enough to send shockwaves through the entire entertainment world. No one knows who leaked the video, but sources close to the couple insist it came from inside the circle. One friend of Tamar's reportedly said, "They didn't want it out like this." But secrets like that don't stay buried forever. Now, with Yandy walking out for good and Mendeecees refusing to speak publicly, the question everyone's asking is, how did it come to this? Because whatever this was, it wasn't just another love triangle. It was a betrayal so deep, it tore a family apart and left fans wondering who to believe. And if you think you've heard the whole story, you're wrong. The truth behind Mendeecees and Tamar's secret wedding is darker, louder, and far more personal than anyone could have imagined. The night it all began felt ordinary, but behind the smiles and filtered Instagram posts, something dangerous was brewing. Mendeecees had been acting strange for weeks, quiet, distracted, always on his phone, always saying he had business meetings that seemed to stretch later and later into the night. Yandy noticed it first in the smallest ways. The way he avoided eye contact when she asked simple questions. The way he changed the subject when she mentioned Tamar's name. Because yes, Tamar Braxton had recently come back into their circle through a charity collab, or at least that's what everyone was told. What nobody knew was that the collab was just a cover, a way for Tamar and Mendeecees to spend time together without anyone suspecting. The chemistry had been instant. Insiders say it wasn't love at first sight, it was curiosity, temptation, and maybe a bit of revenge mixed in. It started backstage at a small event in Atlanta. Tamar was performing, Mendeecees was there to represent a mutual friend. And somehow, they ended up talking long after the show had wrapped. She joked about how tired she was of fake love and social media husbands, and he laughed in a way that told her he understood. That one conversation turned into text messages. Those messages turned into late-night calls. And before long, they were sneaking off to meet each other in quiet corners of the city. Yandy, meanwhile, was trying to keep her family together, unaware that her husband's loyalty was slipping away. Friends close to the situation later said Mendeecees felt overlooked in his marriage. He wanted appreciation, validation, and excitement, all the things Tamar knew how to give. She was bold, emotional, and unpredictable. And Mendeecees, he was drawn to chaos like a moth to a flame. When they were together, it was electric. When they weren't, it was like withdrawal. By the time Yandy realized something was wrong, it was too late. The real breaking point came one Friday night, when Yandy showed up unexpectedly at one of Mendeecees' so-called studio meetings. She walked in with her phone in hand, ready to record because she already had that gut feeling. The music was playing, the lights were dim, and there was Tamar sitting close to Mendeecees, her hand resting on his leg. The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on. Yandy's voice shook as she said, "So this is what a studio meeting looks like now." Tamar froze. Mendeecees tried to stand up, but it was over. Yandy turned around, tears streaming down her face, and said only one word: unbelievable. That night, Mendeecees followed her home, begging her to talk, swearing it wasn't what it looked like. But the internet doesn't wait for explanations. Someone from that studio leaked a small clip just enough to show Tamar and Mendeecees together, and within hours, blogs were buzzing. Mendeecees caught cheating. Tamar Braxton in another scandal. Fans were tearing both of them apart. Yet behind closed doors, the story was becoming even darker. Tamar wasn't backing off. She told people close to her that she and Mendeecees had a real connection, that it wasn't just a fling. In her mind, Yandy was the one standing in the way of something real. Over the next few days, Yandy and Mendeecees barely spoke. He stayed out, claiming he needed space, while she quietly started pulling away from their joint projects. Insiders say she began sleeping in the guest room, and even told her team to prepare for major changes. But the public didn't know any of this. They saw Yandy smiling in posts, pretending everything was fine, while Mendeecees appeared at events alone, always looking distracted. Behind the facade, the marriage was collapsing. Then came the moment that no one could have predicted. Mendeecees disappeared for a weekend, claiming he was traveling for work. But Tamar's fans noticed something odd. She was posting stories from a luxury property in Atlanta, showing glimpses of a man's arm, a familiar watch, a voice in the background that sounded unmistakably like Mendeecees. It didn't take long for fans to connect the dots. "He's with Tamar," one comment read. "That's Yandy's man." Another said. The scandal was snowballing, and by the time Yandy saw those clips, the betrayal was undeniable. Sources say Yandy confronted Mendeecees that Sunday night. She waited for him in the living room. Lights off. Just silence when he walked in. He looked startled, like a kid caught sneaking in after curfew. She said softly, "Tell me the truth before the world tells me first." Mendeecees hesitated, then whispered, "I didn't mean for this to happen." It was all she needed to hear. Yandy stood up, grabbed her bag and said, "Then it's already happened." She walked out before he could stop her. The next day, Tamar was photographed at a restaurant smiling, her phone buzzing nonstop. Insiders claim she had no idea Yandy had already left. Tamar believed Mendeecees was free now, that this was the beginning of something new. But to everyone else, it looked like the end of everything. And just when fans thought the story couldn't get any crazier, the video appeared, the one that changed everything. A 37-second clip that showed Tamar and Mendeecees in what looked like a private wedding ceremony. It said that the ceremony wasn't meant to be public. It was supposed to be symbolic, a secret moment shared only between them. But someone inside the circle recorded it, maybe out of envy, maybe for money. No one knows for sure. What's certain is that the second that footage leaked, it went viral. Within minutes, headlines exploded. Mendeecees marries Tamar in secret ceremony. Yandy walks out. Fans demand answers. And that's when the real chaos began. Tamar's team went silent. Mendeecees' phone went off. Yandy deleted every recent picture with him from her feed. Blogs were refreshing every second for new updates, and fans couldn't decide who to blame. Half the internet sided with Yandy, calling Tamar the ultimate homewrecker, while the other half claimed Yandy had been checked out for years. Even close friends of the couple started choosing sides. One insider said, "You could feel the tension. People were scared to pick up calls because no one knew whose name would leak next." And that's when Mendeecees made the biggest mistake of all. He tried to defend himself. He went live, looking exhausted, trying to downplay the wedding video as a misunderstanding, but fans weren't buying it. They zoomed in on every frame of the clip, analyzing the rings, analyzing the ring, decorations, even the officiant's voice. "That's not a misunderstanding," one viewer wrote. "That's a vow." Tamar stayed silent, posting only a cryptic story that said, "Love don't need permission." Yandy, on the other hand, was done pretending. She posted a photo of herself in her car with the caption, "Walking away isn't weakness, it's freedom." That post got over 500,000 likes in hours. The internet was now fully on her side. People called her the Queen of Grace, praising her for not going low despite the betrayal. But behind those calm captions, Yandy was broken. She had invested years into that relationship, raised his kids, held him down through prison time and public scrutiny. And now, after everything, she was being humiliated by the very person she built her life around. What the public didn't know yet was that Yandy wasn't just walking away emotionally, she was preparing to legally cut ties. Her lawyer had already started drafting documents. One close friend said, "She's not coming back. This time, it's final." Meanwhile, Tamar and Mendeecees were still tangled in their own fantasy. Unaware that their secret love story was about to turn into a nightmare neither of them could control, because behind every leak, there's a motive. And this one, it came from someone who wanted revenge. Within 24 hours of the leaked footage, the internet had gone completely out of control. Every gossip page, every podcast, every fan account was dissecting the secret wedding. Some claimed it happened weeks ago, others said it was staged for clout, but no one had the full story. And in the middle of all that noise, Tamar decided to post a picture that only made things worse. It was a black and white shot of two hands intertwined, both wearing rings, with the caption, "Forever Energy." She didn't tag Mendeecees, but everyone knew. The internet erupted. Tamar just confirmed it. One user commented, "This is insane." Within minutes, Yandy's name began trending again. And the narrative shifted from speculation to confirmation. Mendeecees had really married Tamar. Behind the scenes, it was even messier. According to one insider, Mendeecees had been begging Tamar not to post anything until he handled things privately. But Tamar, emotional and impulsive, felt like she deserved to live her truth. She told a friend, "Why should I hide love? I've hidden enough pain in my life." What she didn't realize was that her version of love was about to destroy what little was left of Mendeecees' reputation. Brand deals were on hold. Production teams for upcoming appearances started pulling out, saying they didn't want to be involved in personal drama. And still Tamar stood by him, believing they could ride the wave together. Meanwhile, Yandy was done being quiet. She finally broke her silence in an exclusive interview that dropped like a bombshell. Sitting in a dimly lit studio, she spoke calmly but firmly. You give your whole heart to someone. You think you're building something solid, and then you find out the foundation was cracked the whole time. She didn't mention names, but everyone knew who she was talking about. The host tried to push for details, asking, "So are you saying it's over?" And Yandy replied, "It's been over. I just didn't realize it until the internet told me." Her composure made it even more powerful. The clip went viral within an hour, and fans flooded the comments with messages of support. Tamar watched that interview in silence. People close to her say she felt torn, guilty, but also defensive. She told her assistant, "I didn't steal nobody's husband. He came to me broken, and I gave him peace." But peace was the last thing she got, because the next day, Yandy's best friend Kimbella decided to jump into the fire. She went live on Instagram and said, "Let's tell the truth, Mendeecees has been playing both sides for months. Tamar ain't innocent. But Yandy's not the only one he's lied to." The comments exploded. Fans demanded proof. And that's when Kimbella dropped the ultimate receipt, a series of text screenshots showing Mendeecees begging Yandy for another chance just 2 days before the wedding video leaked. Those screenshots shattered everything. In one message, Mendeecees wrote, "I don't want to lose my family. I made a mistake." In another, he said, "They don't mean anything. I just needed space." The internet went wild. People started calling Tamar the rebound bride, accusing her of rushing into something that wasn't even real. Her fans fought back, saying she didn't owe anyone an explanation, but the damage was done. Suddenly, Mendeecees was the villain in both women's stories. Producers from Love and Hip Hop couldn't resist. They reached out to all three of them, Yandy, Tamar, and Mendeecees, hoping to bring the chaos on screen. The offer was huge, but Yandy declined. She told them, "I'm not turning my heartbreak into ratings." Tamar, on the other hand, saw it as an opportunity to tell her truth. She even teased it in a post. "Sometimes you gotta show the world your scars before they use them against you." Fans speculated that a spin-off or reunion episode was in the works. And for a brief moment, it looked like Mendeecees and Tamar were about to cash in on the drama. But karma doesn't wait for contracts. Just as they were preparing to make their first joint appearance, a new video surfaced, one that changed the narrative again. It was shot the same night as the secret wedding, but from a different angle. This one showed Mendeecees arguing with someone off camera right before the ceremony started. His voice was tense, angry, almost panicked. "I'm not ready for this," he said. The voice behind the camera replied, "Too late now. She's coming." Fans speculated it was one of Tamar's friends pushing him to go through with it. The clip painted him not as a man in love, but a man trapped in his own bad decisions. Tamar's team scrambled to do damage control, claiming the video was heavily edited, but fans weren't convinced. Even those who had defended her started questioning the story. If he didn't want to do it, why force it? One comment read, "This whole thing looks fake." Another said, "She wanted a fairy tale, he wanted an escape." And Yandy, she didn't say a word. She just posted a picture of herself and her kids with the caption, Peace is expensive, but it's worth the price. It became one of her most shared posts ever. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was spiraling. Sources say he felt trapped between two women and two versions of himself: the loyal husband who wanted to make things right, and the reckless man who couldn't resist chaos. He stopped showing up for appearances, ignored calls from producers, and started avoiding social media altogether. Friends said he was drinking more, isolating himself, and refusing to accept that he had lost both women in the process. Tamar tried to hold on, visiting him, posting vague affirmations like love is patience and healing takes time, but even she could see the distance growing. The turning point came during a heated phone call that insiders later described as the final blow. Tamar accused him of still being in love with Yandy. "Every time you say her name, your voice changes," she said. Mendeecees didn't deny it. He just said, "You don't understand what we've been through." That silence after his words was heavy enough to end everything. Tamar hung up, blocked his number, and went live later that night, tears streaming as she said, "Sometimes, love is just another word for lessons." Fans filled the chat with comments, some supportive, some cruel, but one thing was clear: whatever forever energy they had was fading fast. But it wasn't over yet. The story was about to take another shocking turn, because while Tamar was heartbroken and Mendeecees was disappearing from the spotlight, someone from inside the wedding circle had started selling private messages to the blogs. Messages that revealed something even Yandy didn't know: the ceremony wasn't legally binding. There was no marriage license, no paperwork, nothing official. It was a staged commitment ceremony planned by Tamar herself to manifest their future together. The revelation hit the internet like a storm. So the wedding was fake? Fans asked. She made him do it. Others called it the most manipulative plot twist in reality TV history. And as the truth spread, everything began to unravel in public. Tamar went silent again, Mendeecees disappeared completely, and Yandy finally stepped back into her power. She released a statement saying, "Closure doesn't come from apologies, it comes from understanding who deserves your peace." The audience had picked their side, but the story wasn't done, because what no one realized then was that the person who leaked every video, every photo, and every message wasn't an outsider. It was someone they all trusted, someone who had been quietly watching the chaos unfold, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal the final twist. The person behind the leaks turned out to be closer than anyone could have imagined. It wasn't a random assistant or a jealous friend, it was someone Mendeecees had worked with for years. Someone who had once considered him like family. Insiders later revealed it was his former business partner, a man named Corey, who had been quietly harboring resentment after being cut out of a recent deal. Corey had access to everything: texts, recordings, even private videos, and when Mendeecees turned his back on him, he decided to return the favor by setting the entire story on fire. The leaked wedding clip, that was his doing. The behind-the-scenes argument video, also him. And now that everyone was watching, he wasn't done. He sent anonymous emails to several gossip blogs with the subject line, "You've only seen half the truth." Attached were more files, including voice notes of Tamar venting to friends about making Yandy regret ever crossing her. One particular message hit the hardest. Tamar could be heard saying, if she thought she could keep playing the perfect wife, she got another thing coming. Sometimes you gotta take what's yours. That one audio clip shifted the internet's sympathy overnight. Fans who had once defended Tamar turned on her, calling her toxic and vindictive. Hashtags like #TMyYandy and #Karma for Mendeecees began trending again, drowning out Tamar's supporters completely. Tamar's publicist tried to fight back, saying the audio was manipulated, but the damage was irreversible. Even people in her own camp began distancing themselves. A close friend said, "She's spiraling. She thought she had control of the narrative, but now she's the villain." Meanwhile, Mendeecees was trying to stay under the radar, but reporters found him leaving a restaurant late one night looking exhausted and visibly anxious. When one of them shouted, "Did you really marry Tamar?" he didn't answer. He just got into his car, slammed the door, and sped off. That silent exit became the image of his downfall. Yandy, on the other hand, had started reclaiming her life. She began posting motivational messages, working with charities again, and quietly rebuilding her brand. Fans flooded her comment section with love, calling her the comeback queen. But even as she moved forward, she couldn't escape the shadow of the scandal. Every time her name trended, it was tied to Tamar and Mendeecees. One night, during a live Q&A, a fan asked, "If you could say one thing to Mendeecees right now, what would it be?" She paused for a long moment before replying, "Thank you for teaching me what I don't deserve." That single line went viral, reshared by celebrities, quoted in articles, turned into memes and t-shirts. It was a quiet triumph for her. But behind it, there was still pain. Because the truth was, the story hadn't fully ended. After weeks of silence, Tamar suddenly resurfaced with a bombshell claim. She said she was pregnant. She didn't name the father, but everyone knew who she meant. The announcement came during an Instagram live where she looked emotional, yet determined. "I'm not here for sympathy," she said. "I'm here for truth. And the truth is, life doesn't always happen the way people expect." Fans exploded again. Tamar, pregnant with Mendeecees' baby. The headlines screamed. Yandy's supporters were furious, while Tamar's fans claimed she was finally moving on with grace. But once again, reality had another twist, waiting. 2 days later, another insider leaked medical documents proving that Tamar wasn't pregnant at all. The report came from someone inside her own team who couldn't handle the deception anymore. They claimed the pregnancy story was meant to shift public sympathy and regain control of the narrative. Once that came out, Tamar's credibility crumbled, sponsors dropped her, TV deals froze, and even her fanbase began questioning everything she said. One blog wrote, "Tamar's empire built on drama is falling apart," and in the middle of it all, Mendeecees had vanished again. Rumored to be staying in Miami, away from both women and the chaos he created. Still, there was something haunting about the way the story refused to die. Every week, some new leak or message pulled it back into the spotlight. Then came a final piece of footage from Corey, the man who started it all that no one was ready for. It showed Mendeecees sitting alone in a hotel room, talking to someone off camera. His face looked tired, his voice shaky. "I didn't mean to hurt her," he said. "I loved Yandy, but I didn't know how to stop messing things up. And Tamar, she just showed up at the wrong time. I thought I was starting over, but I was just running away." He covered his face with his hands and whispered, "Tell them I'm sorry." That clip spread faster than any before it. It humanized him in a way that none of the chaos had allowed. Fans began debating whether he deserved forgiveness or not. "He's toxic but self-aware," one fan wrote. "At least he's owning it." Others weren't so forgiving. "You don't get to ruin 2 women and call it reflection." The internet split once more, feeding the scandal that had already taken on a life of its own. Yandy, seeing the clip, reportedly broke down in tears but refused to comment. She told a close friend, "I'm not going back. I've cried enough for one lifetime." Tamar, meanwhile, disappeared again. No posts, no appearances, nothing. Her silence only fueled rumors that she was planning a tell-all documentary, but no one could confirm it. And Corey, the man who had set everything ablaze, suddenly deleted all his accounts and went dark, leaving behind a digital mess that no one could clean up. For weeks, the story lingered online like a ghost. Every day, fans revisited old clips, trying to piece together what was real and what wasn't. Some argued the entire saga was orchestrated from the beginning, a twisted publicity stunt gone too far. Others believed it was just raw, unfiltered reality, messy, emotional, and painfully human. But one thing everyone agreed on was that Yandy came out stronger. She didn't chase the spotlight, she didn't fight for sympathy, she just walked away and rebuilt quietly. Months later, she posted one final message that seemed to close the chapter for good. It was a picture of her standing by the ocean, wind in her hair, phone off, peace in her eyes. The caption simply read, "No bitterness, just blessings." It was liked by hundreds of thousands, including a few unexpected names. Evan, Tamar's sister. That single post felt like the ending the story had been searching for. But for those who had followed every twist and leak, it wasn't closure. It was silence, the kind that comes after a storm when everyone finally realizes the damage left behind. But as peaceful as it seemed, the cameras were already rolling again somewhere else. Production insiders claimed a new show was in development, one that would feature real stories of heartbreak, healing, and redemption. The rumored title, Second Chances, and the cast list reportedly had one name highlighted in bold, Mendeecees. After months of public drama and personal chaos, the story refused to stay buried. Whispers began circulating that Mendeecees was ready to return to the spotlight, not just for fame but to tell his side of the story. Insiders said he had been meeting with producers in secret, discussing a potential interview that could clear his name or, at least, explain the whirlwind that had consumed his life. Fans were divided. Some were desperate to hear him speak, hoping for remorse or closure. Others were skeptical, thinking it was just another attempt to manipulate public perception. The tension escalated when Tamar unexpectedly posted a cryptic message on social media. "Sometimes the past isn't done with you, no matter how far you run." She didn't tag anyone, but everyone knew who she meant. The post reignited fan debates, old screenshots resurfaced, and blogs speculated about a reunion, confrontation, or new scandal. Insiders suggested Tamar was preparing for her own narrative reveal, possibly a tell-all interview or documentary that would finally explain her side of the secret wedding. The drama had gone full circle, and no one could predict what would happen next. Yandy, meanwhile, stayed mostly quiet, focusing on her family and her projects. But even she couldn't escape the ripple effects. Friends reported that she had been approached by multiple networks offering appearances or commentary, but she consistently declined. "I don't need validation from the cameras," she reportedly told a friend. "I need peace." Yet, the internet kept pulling her back into the story, dissecting every new post, analyzing every subtle smile, interpreting every comment as a response to the wedding scandal. Her strength, though quiet, only amplified the contrast between her and Tamar, who seemed increasingly caught in the chaos she had helped create. Just when the narrative seemed to be stabilizing, a new leak surfaced. This one was explosive. A series of videos from a private party weeks after the alleged wedding, showing Mendeecees and Tamar arguing heatedly. Their voices carried over the audio, raw and unfiltered. Tamar accused him of still thinking about Yandy, and Mendeecees, in frustration, shouted back, "I never wanted this to get so messy." The argument ended abruptly when the camera cut off, leaving fans speculating about what happened next. The clips went viral immediately, and social media exploded with reactions. Hashtags like #MendeeceesDrama, #TAMARScandal, and #TIAMyYandy flooded feeds worldwide. Blogs and reality TV commentators jumped on the story, analyzing every word, every gesture, every glance. Some argued Mendeecees had been trapped in indecision, caught between loyalty and desire. Others claimed Tamar had manipulated the situation to gain power and attention. Fan accounts posted side-by-side comparisons of every public interaction, every smile, every social media post, suggesting that the drama had been orchestrated from the beginning. The narrative had taken on a life of its own, fueled by leaks, speculation, and personal ambition. As the months passed, the public fascination only deepened. Tamar posted sporadically cryptic messages about love, betrayal, and self-discovery. Each post was dissected, analyzed, and debated. Mendeecees maintained his silence, avoiding social media and public appearances, further intensifying fan speculation. Yandy continued her path of quiet strength, occasionally sharing glimpses of her life, but never directly addressing the scandal. Yet, the shadow of the secret wedding lingered, haunting interviews, social media feeds, and fan discussions. Then came an unexpected twist. A series of texts leaked between Mendeecees and a mutual friend, showing him expressing regret and a desire to make amends. "I never wanted to hurt anyone," one message read. "I thought I was doing the right thing, but everything spiraled out of control." Fans responded with mixed emotions. Some sympathized, calling him a man trapped by circumstance and emotion. Others were unforgiving, claiming he had destroyed trust, reputations, and relationships for fleeting desire. The public debate raged on, with commentators predicting new revelations would continue to surface. Amidst the chaos, Tamar's plans for a tell-all interview reportedly intensified. Insiders said she had been meeting with producers, crafting a narrative that would position her as both victim and survivor, someone navigating love, betrayal, and the pressures of fame. The potential interview promised to shed light on everything from the secret wedding to the alleged pregnancy rumors, to her personal reflections on the fallout. Fans eagerly anticipated every teaser, analyzing past posts for clues about what she might reveal. Yandy, aware of the brewing storm, prepared her own strategy. Rather than engaging publicly, she focused on self-care, her family, and her work, embodying the quiet resilience that had earned her widespread respect. Insiders noted that she refused to be baited by Tamar's social media tactics or by Mendeecees' intermittent messages. She wanted her story told on her own terms, and she seemed determined to let her actions, not her words, speak for her. As the story entered its latest chapter, the entertainment world braced for the inevitable showdown. Fan communities on social media remained split, with some firmly in Yandy's corner, others supporting Tamar, and many simply fascinated by the ongoing drama. The narrative had evolved beyond a secret wedding. It had become a saga of love, betrayal, power, and survival. A story that continued to captivate audiences worldwide. The tension peaked when a leaked behind-the-scenes clip surfaced from the days after the wedding footage went viral. In it, Mendeecees is seen alone in a dimly lit room, speaking directly to the camera. His voice is shaky, his eyes tired. "I thought love was simple," he says, "but it's never that simple. I hurt people I care about, and now I'm left with pieces of a life that's unrecognizable. I wish I could take it all back." The clip added a raw, human element to the story, complicating public perceptions and reigniting debates across social media platforms. The months following these leaks continued to see waves of speculation, commentary, and drama. Tamar's sporadic appearances, cryptic posts, and interviews kept fans on edge, while Yandy's consistent quiet strength drew admiration. Mendeecees remained largely absent, a shadow at the center of a whirlwind he had helped create. The saga had transcended simple reality TV gossip. It had become a cultural phenomenon, dissected, debated, and consumed by fans hungry for every detail. Even as the dust seemed to settle, insiders hinted at further developments. There were whispers of reconciliation attempts, secret meetings, and even new relationships forming behind closed doors. The narrative was far from over, and fans braced themselves, knowing that in the world of fame, secrets, and drama, nothing stays buried for long. The story of Mendeecees, Tamar, and Yandy continued to unfold, each revelation more shocking than the last, ensuring that the world would be watching, speculating, and waiting for the next explosive twist. The following weeks brought a new level of intensity to the saga. Reports surfaced that Tamar had been spotted at multiple luxury hotels across Atlanta and Miami, often leaving with anonymous companions. Fans speculated endlessly. Was it Mendeecees, a new love interest, someone entirely unrelated? Paparazzi photos emerged, showing Tamar laughing, smiling, and carrying a small bouquet of flowers in one hand, a designer bag in the other. The juxtaposition of joy and secrecy only fueled speculation. Insiders claimed she was trying to reclaim her life, but the optics suggested something far more calculated. Meanwhile, Mendeecees remained largely out of the public eye. Sources close to him said he had become increasingly introspective, avoiding social media, and focusing on private therapy sessions. Friends claimed he was haunted by regret and struggling to rebuild a sense of self after the public fallout. Yet, even in his absence, every move he had made, every post, and every rumored appearance was dissected by fans and blogs alike. Conspiracy theories flourished, ranging from secret reconciliations with Yandy to clandestine meetings with Tamar, none of which could be fully confirmed. Yandy, on the other hand, maintained a measured public presence. She began attending charity events and fashion launches alone, often photographed with a serene, confident demeanor that contrasted sharply with Tamar's erratic visibility. Fans praised Yandy for owning her power and letting the chaos fuel her growth. One widely shared post showed her walking through a city street at sunset, sunglasses on, face calm. Captions simply, "Moving forward, quietly." It was a subtle yet powerful statement, a reminder that while others chased attention, she was reclaiming her life on her own terms. Then came another shocking development: a leaked text thread from Tamar's phone. In it, she appeared to admit to friends that her plan to stage the wedding had been partly impulsive and partly revenge. One message read, "I wanted to show Yandy what she was missing, but I didn't think it would blow up like this." Fans and blogs immediately pounced. Discussions erupted across platforms. Some condemned her actions, others sympathized, suggesting she had acted out of emotional turmoil, not malice. The public debate reignited the old divisions. #T-My-Yandy versus #Team TAMAR. The lines clearer than ever. Around this time, insider sources revealed that Mendeecees had attempted to contact Yandy privately. Several reports indicated he had sent letters and messages expressing regret, pleading for forgiveness, and seeking closure. Yandy reportedly read them but chose not to respond publicly. "She's done engaging with the chaos," one friend claimed. "She's protecting her peace. Nothing he says will change that." This silence, while powerful, only intensified fan speculation. Countless memes, posts, and articles analyzed her every move, suggesting hidden meanings and secret reconciliations that, in reality, didn't exist. Tamar's actions became increasingly erratic. She began posting cryptic videos late at night, snippets of songs, blurred text messages, and whispered monologues about love, betrayal, and destiny. Each post sent fans into a frenzy, trying to decode what she meant. Some believed she was hinting at another pregnancy. Others thought she was planning a public confrontation. One particular video featured her staring into a mirror, repeating, "The past doesn't define me, it fuels me." The dramatic tone, combined with the emotional intensity, turned the video viral within hours. As the tension grew, reality TV producers saw an opportunity. They reportedly approached both Tamar and Mendeecees with a potential reunion or interview special. Tamar, emboldened, seemed interested, viewing it as a chance to tell her version of the story and regain public favor. Mendeecees, however, remained hesitant, wary of further backlash, and unwilling to relive the public humiliation. Yandy, predictably, declined any participation, insisting that she was done turning her life into a spectacle. In the midst of this, the public discovered yet another layer to the drama. Leaked financial documents suggested that Mendeecees had funded certain aspects of the secret wedding and related events, contradicting earlier claims that Tamar had arranged everything. Fans debated the implications, arguing over who was truly responsible for the chaos. Some speculated Mendeecees had been manipulated, while others claimed he had willingly participated, complicit in every misstep. The complexity of the scandal deepened, ensuring that audiences remained captivated. Meanwhile, media outlets began reporting on the psychological toll the saga had taken. Friends close to the trio described sleepless nights, emotional breakdowns, and rising tension between extended families. Yandy's family reportedly rallied around her, offering support and stability, while Tamar's inner circle became increasingly divided, some criticizing her choices and others defending her. Mendeecees, isolated and reflective, was said to be battling his demons quietly, a man caught between public scrutiny and personal regret. Then, just when it seemed like the story might reach a plateau, a new revelation emerged: behind-the-scenes footage from the secret wedding that had never been seen before. This footage, leaked anonymously, showed subtle moments that changed perceptions of the event. Mendeecees appeared conflicted, glancing at his phone repeatedly, while Tamar whispered encouragements. Fans analyzed the footage frame by frame, debating whether it showed love, manipulation, or desperation. The intensity of public scrutiny reached a fever pitch, and media outlets quickly labeled it the scandal that won't die. The saga's continued twists reinforced the narrative that in the world of fame, every action had consequences, and every secret could explode at any moment. Fans speculated endlessly, celebrities commented, and gossip blogs churned out stories faster than anyone could verify. The drama between Mendeecees and Yandy had evolved beyond personal relationships into a cultural phenomenon, dissected and debated by millions, proving that some scandals are too powerful, too intricate, to ever truly fade from public consciousness. As the months dragged on, the saga only deepened. New footage surfaced of Tamar attending exclusive events with high-profile influencers, seemingly unbothered by the chaos surrounding her. In one particularly striking video, she laughed and danced in a crowded room, champagne in hand, while captions on fan pages read, "Tamar, moving on while the world burns." Insiders suggested she was strategically crafting an image of resilience and glamour, attempting to control the narrative as much as possible. Yet, for every appearance, the scrutiny intensified. Fans debated endlessly whether she was thriving or masking turmoil, turning her every smile into a point of discussion. Mendeecees, meanwhile, became an enigma. After months of silence, he was spotted entering a private studio, rumored to be recording a personal music project addressing the scandal indirectly. Friends claimed he was using creativity as a therapeutic outlet, trying to process regret, heartbreak, and public judgment. However, every public sighting, whether leaving the studio, grabbing coffee, or walking alone, was dissected online. Fans scrutinized body language, outfit choices, and expressions, attempting to determine whether he had fully moved on or remained entangled emotionally with both women. Yandy's presence continued as a counterbalance to the chaos. She was photographed at charity galas, fashion launches, and intimate family gatherings, her posts and appearances conveying serenity and strength. Some fans suggested her strategy was deliberate. By refusing to engage in public theatrics, she positioned herself as the measured, rational figure in the scandal. Critics, however, claimed this silence allowed Tamar to dominate the conversation, framing her as both victim and protagonist. Yet, even critics had to admit that Yandy's approach commanded respect, garnering admiration for choosing peace over spectacle. The next twist came from Tamar herself. In an unannounced social media post, she shared a brief video of herself walking along a beach at sunset, whispering into the camera, "Sometimes you fight for love, and sometimes you fight for yourself. The world doesn't get to decide which is which." Fans and blogs immediately analyzed the tone, cadence, and word choice. Some argued it hinted at reconciliation with Mendeecees. Others speculated it was a subtle message to Yandy, suggesting empowerment and triumph. The ambiguity reignited debates, proving that even her silence and subtlety could generate explosive reactions. Then came another bombshell: leaked voicemails between Mendeecees and an unidentified woman, allegedly recorded weeks after the wedding controversy. In one clip, he said, "I never wanted to hurt anyone, but I can't undo what's been done. I just want peace." The emotional weight of the message prompted widespread speculation. Was this a private reconciliation attempt with Tamar, an olive branch to Yandy, or a reflection of his own internal conflict? Fan theories multiplied, social media exploded, and hashtags like #Mendeecees voicemail trended worldwide. Additionally, insiders revealed that extended families were increasingly drawn into the narrative. Yandy's relatives reportedly organized gatherings and public appearances to show solidarity, while Tamar's family was caught between defending her and managing public perception. Reports emerged of tense confrontations at private events, whispered arguments in hallways, and leaked conversations describing the pressure each woman faced. The drama had expanded beyond personal relationships into an intricate web of familial and social dynamics, fueling intrigue and speculation. During this period, some reality TV networks saw an opportunity for a multi-part special, with episodes exploring love, betrayal, and the fallout from public scandals. Initial outreach included offers to Tamar for interviews, reenactments, and commentary segments. Insiders suggested she was tempted, seeing it as a way to reclaim her narrative, while Mendeecees remained hesitant. Yandy's name was reportedly floated as a potential commentator, but she declined, prioritizing privacy and self-care over public spectacle. The possibility of televised reenactments and interviews ensured the story remained alive in both digital and mainstream spaces. The narrative became increasingly convoluted when more private texts leaked, this time showing arguments between Tamar and her close friends about managing the story. Some messages implied that Mendeecees had attempted to contact Yandy privately. Several reports indicated he had sent letters and messages expressing regret, pleading for forgiveness, and seeking closure. Yandy reportedly read them but chose not to respond publicly. "She's done engaging with the chaos," one friend claimed. "She's protecting her peace. Nothing he says will change that." This silence, while powerful, only intensified fan speculation. Countless memes, posts, and articles analyzed her every move, suggesting hidden meanings and secret reconciliations that, in reality, didn't exist. Tamar's actions became increasingly erratic. She began posting cryptic videos late at night, snippets of songs, blurred text messages, and whispered monologues about love, betrayal, and destiny. Each post sent fans into a frenzy, trying to decode what she meant. Some believed she was hinting at another pregnancy. Others thought she was planning a public confrontation. One particular video featured her staring into a mirror, repeating, "The past doesn't define me, it fuels me." The dramatic tone, combined with the emotional intensity, turned the video viral within hours. As the tension grew, reality TV producers saw an opportunity. They reportedly approached both Tamar and Mendeecees with a potential reunion or interview special. Tamar, emboldened, seemed interested, viewing it as a chance to tell her version of the story and regain public favor. Mendeecees, however, remained hesitant, wary of further backlash, and unwilling to relive the public humiliation. Yandy, predictably, declined any participation, insisting that she was done turning her life into a spectacle. In the midst of this, the public discovered yet another layer to the drama. Leaked financial documents suggested that Mendeecees had funded certain aspects of the secret wedding and related events, contradicting earlier claims that Tamar had arranged everything. Fans debated the implications, arguing over who was truly responsible for the chaos. Some speculated Mendeecees had been manipulated, while others claimed he had willingly participated, complicit in every misstep. The complexity of the scandal deepened, ensuring that audiences remained captivated. Meanwhile, media outlets began reporting on the psychological toll the saga had taken. Friends close to the trio described sleepless nights, emotional breakdowns, and rising tension between extended families. Yandy's family reportedly rallied around her, offering support and stability, while Tamar's inner circle became increasingly divided, some criticizing her choices and others defending her. Mendeecees, isolated and reflective, was said to be battling his demons quietly, a man caught between public scrutiny and personal regret. Then, just when it seemed like the story might reach a plateau, a new revelation emerged: behind-the-scenes footage from the secret wedding that had never been seen before. This footage, leaked anonymously, showed subtle moments that changed perceptions of the event. Mendeecees appeared conflicted, glancing at his phone repeatedly, while Tamar whispered encouragements. Fans analyzed the footage frame by frame, debating whether it showed love, manipulation, or desperation. The intensity of public scrutiny reached a fever pitch, and media outlets quickly labeled it the scandal that won't die. The saga's continued twists reinforced the narrative that in the world of fame, every action had consequences, and every secret could explode at any moment. Fans speculated endlessly, celebrities commented, and gossip blogs churned out stories faster than anyone could verify. The drama between Mendeecees and Yandy had evolved beyond personal relationships into a cultural phenomenon, dissected and debated by millions, proving that some scandals are too powerful, too intricate, to ever truly fade from public consciousness. As the months dragged on, the saga only deepened. New footage surfaced of Tamar attending exclusive events with high-profile influencers, seemingly unbothered by the chaos surrounding her. In one particularly striking video, she laughed and danced in a crowded room, champagne in hand, while captions on fan pages read, "Tamar, moving on while the world burns." Insiders suggested she was strategically crafting an image of resilience and glamour, attempting to control the narrative as much as possible. Yet, for every appearance, the scrutiny intensified. Fans debated endlessly whether she was thriving or masking turmoil, turning her every smile into a point of discussion. Mendeecees, meanwhile, became an enigma. After months of silence, he was spotted entering a private studio, rumored to be recording a personal music project addressing the scandal indirectly. Friends claimed he was using creativity as a therapeutic outlet, trying to process regret, heartbreak, and public judgment. However, every public sighting, whether leaving the studio, grabbing coffee, or walking alone, was dissected online. Fans scrutinized body language, outfit choices, and expressions, attempting to determine whether he had fully moved on or remained entangled emotionally with both women. Yandy's presence continued as a counterbalance to the chaos. She was photographed at charity galas, fashion launches, and intimate family gatherings, her posts and appearances conveying serenity and strength. Some fans suggested her strategy was deliberate. By refusing to engage in public theatrics, she positioned herself as the measured, rational figure in the scandal. Critics, however, claimed this silence allowed Tamar to dominate the conversation, framing her as both victim and protagonist. Yet, even critics had to admit that Yandy's approach commanded respect, garnering admiration for choosing peace over spectacle. The next twist came from Tamar herself. In an unannounced social media post, she shared a brief video of herself walking along a beach at sunset, whispering into the camera, "Sometimes you fight for love, and sometimes you fight for yourself. The world doesn't get to decide which is which." Fans and blogs immediately analyzed the tone, cadence, and word choice. Some argued it hinted at reconciliation with Mendeecees. Others speculated it was a subtle message to Yandy, suggesting empowerment and triumph. The ambiguity reignited debates, proving that even her silence and subtlety could generate explosive reactions. Then came another bombshell. Leaked voicemails between Mendeecees and an unidentified woman, allegedly recorded weeks after the wedding controversy. In one clip, he said, "I never wanted to hurt anyone, but I can't undo what's been done. I just want peace." The emotional weight of the message prompted widespread speculation. Was this a private reconciliation attempt with Tamar, an olive branch to Yandy, or a reflection of his own internal conflict? Fan theories multiplied, social media exploded, and hashtags like #Mendeecees voicemail trended worldwide. Additionally, insiders revealed that extended families were increasingly drawn into the narrative. Yandy's relatives reportedly organized gatherings and public appearances to show solidarity, while Tamar's family was caught between defending her and managing public perception. Reports emerged of tense confrontations at private events, whispered arguments in hallways, and leaked conversations describing the pressure each woman faced. The drama had expanded beyond personal relationships into an intricate web of familial and social dynamics, fueling intrigue and speculation. During this period, some reality TV networks saw an opportunity for a multi-part special, with episodes exploring love, betrayal, and the fallout from public scandals. Initial outreach included offers to Tamar for interviews, reenactments, and commentary segments. Insiders suggested she was tempted, seeing it as a way to reclaim her narrative, while Mendeecees remained hesitant. Yandy's name was reportedly floated as a potential commentator, but she declined, prioritizing privacy and self-care over public spectacle. The possibility of televised reenactments and interviews ensured the story remained alive in both digital and mainstream spaces. The narrative became increasingly convoluted when more private texts leaked, this time showing arguments between Tamar and her close friends about managing the story. Some messages implied that Tamar orchestrated parts of the public perception to garner attention and sympathy. Other texts suggested genuine frustration and emotional strain, painting a picture of a woman caught between personal desire and the overwhelming pressure of public scrutiny. Fans dissected every word, emoji, and timestamp, debating whether she was calculating or authentically vulnerable. As the months rolled on, the public became obsessed not just with relationships but with psychological dynamics. Commentators speculated on attachment styles, decision-making under stress, and how fame exacerbated personal vulnerabilities. Blogs produced analysis posts of every public interaction, while fan videos compiled the saga into timelines, emphasizing betrayal, loyalty, and miscommunication. The scandal had evolved from a secret wedding into a multi-layered story of emotional complexity, media manipulation, and the human struggle under constant observation. Then came the final piece for this chapter: a late-night post from Tamar, sharing a single image of her shadow on a wall, captioned, "I am more than the storm." The metaphor resonated with many fans, some interpreting it as empowerment, others as a signal of emotional fragility. Across social media, the debate reignited: was she healing, or merely performing resilience? The ambiguity ensured that the story remained alive, unpredictable, and deeply compelling. At this stage, the saga had transformed completely. It was no longer simply about a secret wedding or betrayal. It had become an ongoing exploration of fame, emotional complexity, and public perception. Every post, leak, and interview added layers, keeping fans captivated. Mendeecees, Tamar, and Yandy had become symbols, their actions analyzed endlessly. The story's momentum promised that any new revelation, no matter how small, would immediately ripple across media platforms, reigniting interest and debate. And as the saga unfolded, one thing became clear: the drama between Mendeecees, Tamar, and Yandy was far from over. Every quiet moment, every cryptic post, and every leaked message had the power to reshape public perception, reignite debates, and generate headlines. Fans waited with bated breath, knowing that in this tangled web of love, betrayal, and fame, the next explosive twist was always just around the corner. The following developments sent the saga into overdrive. Insiders revealed that Tamar had been in secret meetings with a high-profile reality TV producer, discussing a potential miniseries about the wedding controversy, the aftermath, and her personal journey. The rumors alone caused social media to explode. Fans speculated whether the series would portray her as a mastermind, a victim, or both. Every post she shared in the days following, smiles on yachts, dinners with friends, luxury shopping sprees, was interpreted as a teaser for what was coming. Hashtags like #TAMARstory and #Mendeecees drama dominated trending lists for days. Mendeecees, meanwhile, remained an elusive figure. Sources claimed he had been holed up in Miami, working on personal projects and avoiding public appearances, trying to regain a sense of normalcy. Yet, his absence did little to quell speculation. Every paparazzi photo, every rumored sighting, and every cryptic social media mention caused a ripple effect online. Fans debated endlessly whether he would reconcile with Tamar, attempt to mend fences with Yandy, or disappear entirely from public life. The uncertainty fueled constant conversation, keeping the drama alive. Yandy continued to build her narrative quietly. She was spotted attending charity events, launching business ventures, and posting about family milestones. Her calm, composed presence became a stark contrast to Tamar's heightened visibility, and many fans began framing her as the figure of stability and strength. One viral post featured Yandy at a community event, smiling warmly as she interacted with children. The caption read, "Strength isn't loud, it's steady." Fans praised her restraint, framing her actions as a testament to moving forward, while others remained entangled in chaos. Then, in an unexpected twist, a new video leaked. This one showed Tamar alone in a hotel room, visibly emotional, scrolling through her phone and whispering to herself, "Why can't anyone just see me?" The clip revealed a more vulnerable side, and fans quickly reacted with empathy. Some suggested that despite the calculated public appearances, Tamar was emotionally exhausted, grappling with the consequences of her choices. Other fans were skeptical, suggesting the video was staged to regain sympathy. The ambiguity kept the conversation alive, with debates dominating comment sections, fan forums, and social media threads. Just as public interest seemed to peak, insiders revealed another bombshell. Tamar had reportedly sent a private message to Yandy, attempting to initiate dialogue. Sources suggested the message was conciliatory, expressing regret for the public chaos while asserting her right to make her own choices. Yandy, consistent with her approach, chose not to respond publicly. Fans were divided. Some saw this as an olive branch, others as an empty gesture. The mere knowledge of the attempt reignited debates, illustrating the public's obsession with any interaction between the two women. Mendeecees also made a rare public appearance during this period. He attended a small private event, carefully avoiding media questions. However, fans recognized him, and photos quickly circulated online. In the images, he appeared somber, almost introspective, contrasting sharply with Tamar's bold public presence. Bloggers and commentators speculated endlessly about his emotional state. Was he regretful, relieved, or planning a return to the spotlight? Every angle was analyzed, turning a simple appearance into a focal point of the ongoing narrative. The saga's media coverage expanded further when leaked texts between Tamar and her friends suggested strategic planning for the upcoming miniseries. One message read, "We control the story now. Let's make sure it's our narrative first." The public reacted with a mix of fascination and criticism. Some applauded her for reclaiming her story, while others accused her of exploiting the drama for personal gain. The leak reinforced the idea that Tamar's actions were both deliberate and emotionally charged, keeping fans engaged and divided. As the weeks passed, public fascination grew with every subtle development. Tamar posted more cryptic updates, Mendeecees maintained his low profile, and Yandy's composed actions continued to inspire admiration. Blogs, podcasts, and fan channels produced endless content dissecting every social media post, every public sighting, and every rumored conversation. The story had evolved far beyond the initial secret wedding, transforming into a multi-layered saga of love, betrayal, emotional complexity, and public perception. The narrative took another dramatic turn when a new set of images leaked online. These showed Tamar and Mendeecees in what appeared to be a private discussion at a luxury resort. Their body language, fans argued, suggested tension, intimacy, and unresolved emotions all at once. The leaked images were quickly shared across all platforms, with captions speculating about secret reconciliation or continued conflict. Fan debates raged, with each side interpreting the images to fit their narrative. The intrigue only heightened, drawing attention from traditional media outlets and digital platforms alike. As the story continued to unfold, it became clear that the drama between Mendeecees, Tamar, and Yandy was far from over. Every leak, every post, and every private interaction revealed layers of emotion, strategy, and consequence. Fans remained captivated, dissecting every detail, speculating endlessly, and waiting for the next explosive development. The saga had transformed into a living, breathing spectacle, a testament to the enduring power of love, betrayal, and fame in the public eye. The drama, in essence, had evolved into an ongoing narrative where each character's actions, choices, and silence mattered equally. Every post, comment, and appearance was scrutinized, turning ordinary moments into significant plot points. The secret wedding had ignited a chain reaction that extended far beyond the original event, ensuring that the story would continue to captivate, shock, and divide fans for months to come. Now that you've been taken through the whirlwind of confrontation, secrecy, and shocking leaks, it's impossible not to wonder what comes next. The drama between Erica, JD, and Usha is far from over. Every leaked clip, every whispered rumor, and every calculated public appearance